Hi everybody, and welcome to the digital download.
Isn't this cool?
This is a weekly thing that we're going to do, and we want it to be educational. So everybody in the team has brought together something that they've seen on social media, what they've learned this week, or a report they've seen, or just something that we can bring together, and then all of us can debate it. So before we get into what it is, how about if everybody just introduce themselves?
Can I go? Is that okay?
Yeah, you go.
I'm a bit shy of retiring, so I don't like waiting to the end. My name's Eric Doyle. I work with a company called Crux, and I'm part of the DLA team, helping people with strategic social media, social selling, and influence coach.
Fantastic. Mike.
Hi, everybody. Mike Garrison, founder of Values-Based Mindset and a member of the DLA team. And what I do is I help professional services firms transition their analog success to digital dominance.
Thomas, you look bored. We've only 2 minutes in and you're bored.
He knows what's coming.
No, it's going to be exciting. I'm Thomas Ross. I'm one of the founders of Social Selling HQ, and a very active member for the DLA Ignite team. And we bring digital to our clients across North America.
Thank you. Linwood.
Hello, I'm Linwood Ross. I'm the founder of Accelerate, also a member of the DLA Ignite team. We focus on building digital culture at scale. So we focus on large enterprises and helping those organizations transform.
And Mr. Gray, Adam Gray.
Hi, I'm Adam Gray. I'm co-founder of DLA Ignite. Tim is my business partner. And yeah, we're thrilled to be on this journey with everyone else on the call, others, and indeed the world as a whole.
So we've all brought something together, and this is very much also about the world out there on social, joining in and having a conversation. We'd love for you to make comments. We'd love you to join in the conversation. And I have the great honor to actually pick the person who's going to go first to actually discuss what they're going to do. So actually, Thomas, you've seen an article by Gartner, haven't you, about buyer enablement. What on earth is buyer enablement?
So buyer enablement is such an interesting thing, and I find it so appropriate today. Because of what's happened with our customers and buyers, they now control the narrative. We don't, right? We're hopefully involved in the process.
How do you mean they control the narrative?
So buyers now have full control of the information that they access, that they're interested in, that they follow up on, that they work with, and the companies and the brands that they so choose to follow up on that basis. And that's because the digital world has turned everything upside down. Now with a click, we can have access to any information we need. And if that information's there, then you're in great shape. If it's not there, or if it's a corporate spam related type of ad, it's not going to have impact. So when we talk about buyer enablement, we talk about helping the buyer's journey, if you will, actually get access to the type of information that will really help them, both educate them in terms of what their needs might be, and hopefully how those may line up or align with the products or services that we want to offer. And to the extent that we do that well, is the opportunity for us to be able to actually develop them into a potential client now or in the future. To the extent we do that poorly or not at all, as is true in too many cases, We will not have that opportunity. It's as simple as that.
So I've not actually read the document for Gartner, but what does it say?
So Gartner goes into a lot of the great research that they've done in that regard, and really the crux of it, if you don't mind me stealing that word, Eric.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Strategy.
The crux of it is you need to lay out an awful lot of different stages for the buyer, for the customer, so that they can make progress through what we know they're doing already. We know that on the basis of other research, that the buyer is 60 to 75% through their journey by the time we reach them, or that we contact them, or that they contact us. So we need to make sure that that journey was one that was productive in lieu of what we want to do. And Gartner's research bears that out and then shows exactly what kind of information is most valued by those customers during that research. And what we find is it's not what we expect. What we might expect and what they're
what
really
would we
looking
expect?
for is different. I'm sorry?
What would we expect?
Well, what we might expect is information about how great we are, or information about how well our product or services did in this example or that example by white papers and those kinds of things. And what we really find is that that's not what they're looking for at all. They're looking for a method by which to gain confidence in the solution we offer, or that they might consider. The fact is, there's lots of great information. And there's
So we've had a question from Rob Durant. Is buyer enablement a function of sales and marketing? That's a really good question.
From reading the document that Thomas is talking about, I don't think it's both and neither. I think it's the entire organization.
Yes.
I would totally agree. In fact, to the extent that that's true, sales and marketing blur, don't they?
But we've always had this thing, though, that everyone's in sales, and we're like, it's kind of like we know that, but what's changed to mean that everybody is in?
What's changed is that anybody and everybody on the team has the opportunity to contribute to that journey.
Because we don't all have a right.
Right.
I think Tim has a little internet problem, so he might be glitching a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I seem to be the one that's got the problem. Yeah.
But that information can come from and should come from anybody and everybody on the team within the organization, and not from corporate spam. And that's why everybody truly is now providing input and information to help that customer gain confidence in
So give us examples. What can we do back in what can we do back at the ranch?
So back at the ranch, anybody and everybody that's customer facing needs to be contributing content and needs to be talking about what they do and how they do it from a personal perspective, how they work with their customers, the solutions they provided, the different types of opportunities that's created, and the positive impact that's had. And when that comes from them and from the customers, that brings confidence. And that shows a broad breadth of positive.
So the CEO is online explaining about the culture, because if we're going to buy something, we're going to buy into the culture and the purpose of the company. The purchasing department is talking about sustainability, because what we're going to buy, we want to make sure it's not made in a sweatshop. The HR department is online talking about diversity and the importance of inclusion, all those things. Is that what you're talking about?
That's all part of it, absolutely. And the more the leadership team, starting from the CEO, is involved, the better, right? Because then that breathes right down, and now you've got a whole organization telling a great story. And when they do that on a personal basis, again, it comes down to the buyer having confidence. There's so much information that there's information overload. So it's all about providing confidence.
And if I may, just to add into that, beautiful response from Thomas there, that you know, we all sat there at various points in our career at kickoff meetings or town halls or whatever, where the CEO or the MD was saying, you know, come on guys, you know, we're all in sales. And I remember at points in my career where I didn't really understand how that related to me. I could find a sort of existential link to the fact that my behavior might at some point make or break a client's opinion or something. But until I got into frontline jobs where I was actually interfacing with clients, I never really got that. Now we're in a position where the world is, we talk about the fact that the world has changed through social and digital. It's completely upside down from where it used to be. It's completely refocused and recentered. So now we're in a position where we'll have, like for instance, just working with a client this week where they were really super focused on the fact that their company page on LinkedIn was what it was all about. It's got 4,000 followers. The team that have now come on the social selling and influence journey, I've got more than 25,000 followers. The people have got the facility to become bigger than the brand. The people are bigger than the brand, more powerful than the brand. Just giving them that ability to put themselves in a position where they can leverage from that. It might be quite flippant, but on a grand scale, it's going back to the Twitter profiles. Nike has 8.4 million followers on Twitter. If they want to sell some tennis apparel, they probably should call Serena, who's got 10.4 million followers. If they want to sell a basketball jersey or some basketball boots, they should probably call LeBron with 49.4 million followers. You know, massively bigger than their online following. And then if they're going to try and sell some football boots, they should probably call Cristiano Ronaldo, who's got 91.6 million followers. The people are winning the battle over the brands. Can't repeat it enough.
A really interesting fallout from that is that in the Gartner Trust Report, it says that the most trusted people are the technical people within a company and people just like you, ahead of the CEO, which is a long way ahead of marketing and sales.
Which report, Adam?
The Gartner Trust Report.
The Enablement report.
Edelman.
Yeah,
Edelman. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, technical people are ahead. Just to say, LinkedIn users. So, by the way, LinkedIn user. I've checked it out. If you're not connected to me, I don't. It doesn't bring up your name. So if you can send me a connection request, I can then pick that up, or just put your name in the chat. What you say, starting at the top, yeah, absolutely. And providing vision and reinforcing and building strong relationships, absolutely. Thanks for that. And by the way, appreciate the awesome discussion today. Thank you. Sorry, Adam.
No, it was right to pull that up. But I think it's really interesting, isn't it, that it isn't just the stars and the influencers that have got the power. It's people who are just like us. Yeah. You know, why would I believe what a salesperson or a marketing person says when I can believe somebody who looks just like me?
Yeah. And you know, we don't believe salespeople. I mean, you know, whenever we look at a salesperson, you know that salesperson's lying because their lips are moving. You know, why not get other people in the organization to kind of do the selling for us? But I mean, in a serious way.
Yeah.
Thanks, Thomas. That's really great. So if anybody watching, if you're watching on LinkedIn, I've actually put a link to that Gartner report below, or should be in the chat below if you want to have access to that. So Mike, you found a HubSpot report, didn't you? And I have actually read this one.
Yeah, with all respect to HubSpot, I'm going to savage this. So it's called the 6 Sales Challenges Facing Salespeople in 2021. And with all due respect, which isn't a lot, it's the same challenge, right? The same challenge is this. If you are still selling like a douchebag, you or your organization, you're going to experience the results of a douchebag, which is not a lot, frustration and things like that. If you're selling by relationship, you're going to be successful because you actually own something that can't be taken away. Like the oldest form of marketing is what? Word of mouth. Yeah. All we're doing, at least the way that we do it here at DLA, is transitioning what you know works in the real world, what feels good, what actually is exponential in impact, which is building relationships that tell stories, and we're just transitioning it through training and coaching online. So I'm going to go through this real quick. You ready, Tim?
Yeah.
Try to build trust virtually.
I've read it, and I agree with you. It was pretty. It was the secret had a secret bland ingredient. I mean, it tells you nothing. So I mean, people. It says people are selling virtually, and you make more phone calls and more emails. Really?
Yeah. Well, that's the problem. Like if your mindset for sales as an organization or an individual is built upon transactional strategies, cold calling, emailing, like if you're an interrupter, if you're a pusher, you're going to do the same thing. And that's why all the other social selling stuff is rubbish, because the people that do it are transactional. They don't understand how to build relationships because they never really did. And so that's the secret. You have to be focused on selling through, not selling to. Can you be interesting enough? Can you be human enough? Right? So trying to build trust virtually. My first question is, can you do it in person? Like,
I've got my mate Rut actually put up I hope I can call you my mate, Robert. Robert and I have known each other for, I don't know, about 10 years. So what part of the sales reps within the process, how do sales reps become involved in the company's story and the different departments' messaging? It's a great question.
Oh, it's an incredible question. And I think every one of us would answer it. I would just say this. First of all, have a relationship building mindset. And you have to have it not only as an individual sales rep, but you need to find a organization that does it, because here's the reality. What we do here isn't for everyone. I think you guys would agree. It's not for everyone. If you are not able to focus on building relationships and not being a soulless pitch artist, then you're not going to be successful on social, because you're just going to.
Or if you're allergic to leads.
To leads? Oh my God!
Allergic to success.
Allergic to revenue.
Right. Well, isn't it the deal? Like the answer for every one of these things that they have here is be strategic on social. And being strategic requires you to think about the long-term effects of your behavior. And if you're just going to irritate people, back to Thomas's point, if buyers are in charge of the sales process, right, the information, what is the oldest way to ace out every salesperson that ever lived in every other company? Get introduced to the right person ahead of time, right? Why try and compete when everybody else has the same deal? If you do what we're talking about here, you're going to be involved before the purchase decision. You'll, in effect, be supporting the buying committee. You know, I just think that you have got to be focused on whether or not you really care about people or not. And if you don't,
so Mike, the report.
Yes. So when you look at it, get in front of decision makers. How do we do that normally? Social. Realize a strong product alone won't close deals. The answer is social. Adjusting to uncertain post-COVID world. The answer is social. Struggling with productivity in the face of uncertainty. Social. Moving toward a buyer-first mentality. Social.
But the thing is
is anybody suspecting that Mike might have missed his first cup of coffee of the day today or something? Or angry? Isn't it angry, Mike?
Mike, but they don't mention it at all in the report. And you know, you've got HubSpot, which I respect a lot. You know, they're the people that set up Inbound. You know, this is all about inbound and stuff. They're the masters of this, and the best they could do, the insight was to make more calls and to send more emails.
Well, what are they selling?
Well, it's interesting because they've actually, the CMO of HubSpot's actually gone on. There's a if you come to me, I can send you the report and the webinar that he actually speaks at, where he says we're not sending emails anymore because it doesn't work.
Yeah. So I mean, I would say, like, all joking aside, I've had some great interactions with folks at HubSpot over the years. But at the end of the day, the problem that everyone has with social as an answer is that they're not strategic, right? They are looking at this from an analog mindset: interrupt, push, volume of technology, quick fix on a digital social platform. And if it didn't work when we didn't have social, it will not work on social because it is social media, not sales media, not cold call media, not email media. It's social. And that's I think the big problem is, especially for a large organization that has the impact that HubSpot does. Like, this is very threatening. How do we transition our business to social for real?
So I got a question here from Robert. Don't know if anybody can answer this. What part can technology play in that process for sales reps building relationships, trust, and amplifying the brand story? And I was actually going to go to you, Adam.
Yeah, I think that we're all in agreement, but I'll articulate this for anyone that's watching that may not be so aware of what it is that we believe. Social, as Brian Solis said, is about psychology, not about technology. You know, it's about having conversations and building relationships with people and becoming friends, in quotes, with people and getting to know and trust them. And technology, the role it plays is to provide that scale. You know, Mike comes from the old BNI world of business breakfast with people. That's the best way of forging any relationship with someone, because you get to see them every week, you get to spend social time with those people, you get to really know those people. But the problem is you can only eat so many breakfasts in a week and you can only have so many people around a table.
Amen.
The inherent technology provided by the social networks is one of scale. So rather than breakfasting every week with 20 people, you can breakfast every day with 20,000 people. Some of those people, your message will resonate with them. They'll be your ideal customer. So if you're yourself and you lead with who you are, and you're not always pitching, but you're always being yourself and helping and being a genuinely decent person, the network itself provides the scale. That's the technological gearing that is provided. Yeah, you can buy tools that scrape data and give you lists and stuff, but actually it's inauthentic, it's not right. And now, thankfully, LinkedIn is banning people, just immediately cutting them off at the knees for doing something. Thanks, Robert. For doing that kind of stuff. Because LinkedIn, I believe from what we're seeing, it wants to get back to the basics of networking. You know, you meet people, you share ideas with people. Some of those people say, I think you've got the solution to my problem. Can you come and help me, please? In exactly the same way they did in the old days. Referral and word of mouth and introduction. Perfect.
So leading on from that, Gary, thanks, Gary, for joining, says, what are your thoughts on pre-programmed engagement bots and drip messages? I start to see a lot of these emails and then connection requests from the same company, and it's a turnoff. And this is, I think, comes back to that often people think that social selling is basically cold calling over social media. So what do you think?
I think most people think of social selling as cold calling at scale. And that's a great example. I got one of those AI bot things this morning, and it was awful. It was this huge, long message that clearly showed she had no idea what I did or anything like that. That's a great way to damage your reputation. Like I said to Adam on a comment on your post this morning, one of the things you learn mountain biking is speed is your best friend up until it's your worst enemy. And that's exactly what I want people to hear from this. What these men are talking about, what these guys are talking about, what this company is about, all of them, is about understanding that the speed of automation is going to kill you. It's going to ruin your reputation. It's going to ruin your business. It's going to be good.
I think that there's a bigger issue there, isn't there? And I think we had this discussion some time ago. You know, LinkedIn as a networking platform only works if we as individuals are on it having conversations. The moment you replace yourself with a bot, then you are only an appropriate target for me as a buyer if I am also there as a prospective buyer. And the moment that I'm not, the moment that the platform is full of people that are just going to sell, the platform has no value. If you replace every buyer by a bot and every seller by a bot, there's no revenue or opportunity for anybody. So again, hats off to LinkedIn for saying, if you let someone else take over your account to send messages on your behalf, if you let somebody else make connection requests, if you let somebody else do this, if you give your account to somebody else to manage on your behalf, you'll just be deleted instantly. And I think that's the best thing that has happened for a long time on this platform.
We've talked about a few different issues here, and I actually think it's important to kind of bring them together because we're making a very important point that I don't think everyone is capturing or may not be capturing, which is that you really don't need to have additional automation to pursue your goals as a seller on LinkedIn, because the platform itself is the technology that you need to scale. And what you really need to do is have conversations directly with people, which you can do at scale because of the platform, without replacing yourself with something else. And it's the interruption, it's the broadcast, it's those things that Mike was talking about that you can avoid. You don't need to do it. It's not necessary.
So Philip has asked a question. I think it kind of leads on, which is, but social selling is all very well, but shouldn't we carry on making cold calls and sending out emails? Eric.
Yeah, please. I had a look at Philip's question. So thank you, Philip. It's an excellent question, and we get asked that a lot. So we don't work on gut feel. We work on data. We work on what exists, what works. If you're I'm looking at your organization right now. If your organization was tasked with turning over 10 million euros, and your cold calling and cold emailing efforts are making 10, 11, 12, 15 million euros, then you're on to a winner. So we can't tell you to stop doing that. This is all based on data. It's where we attribute the success. So what we are saying is that many of our clients, many of our prospects, many of the people that we know, many of the institutions on the planet right now are saying that cold calling and cold mailing are less effective than they once were. So we prove that when we've got a client who's wondering whether this is actually going to be better. We don't like wonder or dreams or gut feels or fairy dust or whatever or rabbit's feet and wishing for, we'll measure it. It's about attribution. So as I said, what is your sales forecast in the year? How much are you getting with that cold calling and mailing? I firmly believe that any organization we go into that's using cold calling and cold mailing as its main demand gen satisfaction resource, social selling and influence will wipe the floor with it fairly quickly, and we know that works. But the way that we measure that is that we will. One of the best ways to do it is to run a pilot. Run it alongside. Take a portion of your sales team and get them to stop cold calling and mailing and start social selling. Yeah. And with the process and rigor that we
run them side by side.
Run them side by side and measure the results.
Yeah. Sorry, Mike.
I was going to say, stopping, if you're getting results from cold calling and cold emailing, that and stopping it wholesale across your entire organization to do this program, that might be a little bit like deciding you're going to lose weight by cutting your legs off.
Please have a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I'm a coach, right? And so when you look at this, right, I think, and Adam, I was on a call with Adam earlier this week, and he really encapsulated, I think, the majority fear that organizations have. They look at social selling, they look at relationships, and they're like, I know this worked analog, but I couldn't track it. I didn't understand how I could forecast sales results across a multi-site, multi-country business because it was anecdotal. You see where I'm going with this, Adam? Like, the evidence was anecdotal because you had other people telling stories. The difference with strategic social selling and, quite frankly, our program is it's documented. So we move from anecdotal evidence to tracking, just like what Eric was saying. And no reasonable business is going to stop everything unless you have way too much money and do
And you've
something.
got evidence, and you've got evidence to back it up. But there's one thing just in closing. Sorry, Tim. One thing just in closing, just to give Philip credibility for his question. So his question was about, should the modern sales reps stop that? And we've answered that. The last part was, can cold calling and cold emailing be part of a social selling strategy? There is no social selling strategy that's got a big cold calling and cold emailing element to it. That's we're talking apples and oranges here.
Yeah, it's like playing football with a tennis ball. What are you doing?
So, Philip, I hope that that helped you and sort that out. And if there's any other questions, please bring them forward. Lenwood.
Yes, sir.
What are we going to talk about today? What have you learned this week?
You know, I posted an article yesterday on my LinkedIn, Linwood M. Ross, if you want to read the article. It was about the 5 strategies that become to be more impactful as a buyer-driven organization. And I really liked the article because it talked about, it was really like an issue spotting article, you know, talking to all of those marketing executives about, you know, what's going on with the buyer and why buying and sales organizations need to make a change. I think the most important part of the article, which he doesn't actually say, is that this is a transformation for organizations. This is not a tinker. This is not something that your hints and tips on social media is gonna fix.
So true.
Yeah, right. We're talking about a, you know, it's really a global phenomenon that's impacting every organization, and we need to change our organizations from how the people are doing things to the processes, the collection of data, and how that data is used so that we're outward focused and not inward focused.
Yeah, I get a lot of calls from people where they say, yeah, we got somebody in, they did an hour, 2 hours, hints and tips how to use it. And I always say, so how did that work? And they said, well, nothing happened. And I get that time after time after time, you know. And I mean, these people should go and ask for their money back because they're wasting their time and money. I don't know why they're doing it.
It's nothing that a master class or a one-day seminar is going to fix, because it is a wholesale change in the way that the organization works, including destroying silos, the silo between sales and marketing, and also the technical people. Right?
So I've got a question here from Robert. Thanks, Lenwood. We've got a question here from Robert. Would anyone like to take this one? So how do you suggest that social selling reps help the buyer's journey through social channels? What content should be sharing and how often, and what type of, how long do you want on this one, Robert?
So I'll jump in. So I'm working with a load of professional salespeople right now who are making the transition to social. So where did we start? Where did he say? So first of all, we work out what they want to be famous for. And we construct a content plan around that. No professional person who is using social media for their business to drive conversations that lead to commercial interaction should be waking up in the morning and saying, damn, what am I going to post today? This is all planned. This is all leading back, and everything links back to the overall strategy. Everything we do on social, when we start to take it seriously, has a purpose and is towards an end. So whatever those sales reps are doing, we should be developing a content plan that is relevant to them and relevant to what their company are trying to achieve with social media. That is clear. Once we get all of that aligned, what you want to be famous for, what you're trying to achieve with social, and then we can start to build a content plan around the tone and timbre of your organization and what you really want. What kind of engagement are you looking for, and what you're going to do with that? What content should they be sharing? Our buzzword, our sort of headline is rich and diverse content that gets the kind of engagement that you're looking for, and that we can track and we can look to improve upon. One of our key things is, if you're posting content day after day, week after week, month after month, and you're not getting what you're looking for, it's not your network's problem, it's your problem. So you need to adjust, analyze the data, look at what works, do more of that, chop and change, but give your network a rich and diverse content matrix, which is keeping them on their toes, keeping them entertained, and separating you from your bland vanilla competition. How often should you be posting? Our advice is you should be there. You should be turning up for work every day. You should be in front of your audience every single day.
Is that your mobile, your watch interfering?
It could be my watch. I will take it and throw it across the room. It could be.
Hey, Eric.
Hope we didn't hit the dog.
Wait, real quick. I think like the short version of that for us Americans is you're not going to come up with a content strategy.
I don't know what. It's not me. It is not me.
Here's the thing. If you were going to try and figure it out and then do the same thing every day for the rest of your life, it's not going to work. And that's what Eric is telling you, and that's what everyone else is here is you have to analyze, you have to keep working, because at the end of the day, if you want to sell through your network, they have to like your content. You have to find out what they want.
So Adam, what's your view about content and around brand and about talking about the company?
People buy people. It's a cliched phrase, but things become cliches for reasons, don't they? Normally because they're true. And not surprisingly, if you sell CRM systems, and that's what your company does, your branded material says, we sell CRM systems, they're really good, everybody needs a CRM system. There's no insight in that at all, it's just a sales pitch. If you're yourself and you're authentic and you talk about what it's like to work within your company and how much you enjoy mountain biking and caravanning, if you live in Scotland, if you talk about where you've been, if you talk about the joy that you get from helping customers, if you talk about the success stories that the people around you have had, that paints a story that makes you an interesting person. And you once said to me, Tim, and I thought this was a hilariously funny comment, which was, how often have you heard of somebody that phoned a marketing department and said, I didn't receive an email from you this week, is everything okay? Nobody cares. If you're a marketing department and you're pushing corporate content and one day it doesn't turn up, nobody says, where's the corporate content gone? Oh my God, my life's incomplete without it. People just go, thank heavens for that. When a piece of corporate content, no matter how it's delivered, arrives in your inbox, be that voicemail or inbox or spam filter or messages on LinkedIn, the first thing you do is look for the unsubscribe button. However, if it's a person, you don't. You listen to what it is they have to say, and if they seem like somebody that you resonate with, that you like, that you think is funny, that you think is entertaining, you're happy to have a conversation with them. And that person-to-person selling, that person-to-person relationship building means that you build an ever-growing network of advocates. Some are going to buy today, some are not going to buy this month, some are not going to buy this year, some will never buy. But if all of them know who you are, what you do, what you stand for, and how good you are, that's a pretty good place to be. And good things happen as a result of that.
And that's how you deliver the personalized experience that so many of the buyers out there are looking for, right?
So thanks, Robert. Thanks for asking those questions. It's fantastic, and I do know that you're asking them for that particular reason. Don't worry. Adam, what have you learned this week? What have you been up to?
It's interesting, isn't it, that often, it's a bit of a cliched, again, I love my cliches, a bit of a cliched comment that the universe keeps sending you lessons until you learn them. So I've done a couple of things this week that have been interesting. One of them, yesterday morning, I ran a seminar for the APS, Association of Professional Sales, a group of people that we're kind of partnering with on producing a qualification for digital selling. And there are about 150 people on the seminar. And I got the feedback earlier today. And it's amazing, isn't it, that because you're at a particular point on your journey, the natural default position is that you assume everybody else is on the same point on their journey. So the feedback I got from one person was, well, you're telling me all the stuff that I already know. And from somebody else saying, this is like a bolt from the blue. This is incredibly insightful. I'm going to do everything differently tomorrow. And it reminds me that when we talk to people, this is not in social selling, although that's the reflection that I got this week. When we talk to people, we can't assume any knowledge. We can't assume they're at a particular place. So we have to make sure that we are as inclusive as we can possibly be in our language, in the narrative that we tell, in the phrases that we use, so we can try to take as many people on the journey as we possibly can. And that was again ratified this week by some coaching that I was doing with a bunch of guys at a particular client. And some of them have been working with me for quite a while. And frankly, some of the conversations have become a little bit staid, because we end up saying the same thing week after week after week after week after week, because people have to build those habits. Yeah, so those habit building things are so crucial. You know, I guess the biggest torpedo in anybody's journey is the lack of ability to maintain the good behavior. You know, it's easy to post something today. It's quite easy to post something every day for a week. It's quite difficult to post something every day for a month. It's extremely difficult to do it every day forever. And that posting stuff, engaging with people, growing your network, those things that we have to do, the challenge is making that part and parcel of your everyday life, like eating healthily and exercising and all of those other things.
Make it part of your identity as an individual and company.
Thanks, Adam. Eric, so what have you learned? I thought we were going to have to like squeeze you in right at the end, but you've got loads of time.
Don't tell them how long.
I wouldn't have that much to say.
You're shy and retiring, aren't you?
I am. Very introvert. INTJ. So this week's been kind of crazy, because we've had a lot of one-to-one sessions with clients from different industries, different sectors, who are fairly early in their social transition, if you will. But it's been beautiful. So we've been around about 20 different people. So we're getting into we're set some assignments last week, all round about developing what we call buyer-centric, digitally optimized profiles. So it's been the learning for me this week. I don't come with a nice study or a document like some of my friends here, but the learning for me this week is more a sort of cementing or a confirmation that so many people are at so many different stages of this. And you can't necessarily just bracket someone and say because they're a bit older they're going to be less tuned into this, or because they're a bit younger they're going to be slightly better at this. Yeah, very good. So yeah, it's been phenomenal. Everything from people who are showing early signs of, I guess the common theme is that all of these people have been held in little corporate boxes. And they're slowly but surely, like the chicken being born, or one of the birds being born, smashing out of the egg, breaking out of it and finding their digital identities.
So you're currently transforming an organization. It's a dead boring engineering organization, isn't it? You can't get more boring than that.
Well, I find it quite exciting.
I know you find it exciting, but everybody else finds it really boring. And play to the audience. So yeah, two different companies right now in quite sort of staid conservative sectors. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Heavy engineering, So not your typical. You know, if you were thinking back in the day, people that were all over social, it would have been marketing types, London, New York, Milan, all over it, very cool, very trendy. No, these are coming from very staid engineering, technical services orientated industries, and it's been amazing to take these people through this. So finding people who have got the assignments from our first module to go away and construct these profiles. Who some have come back and they are ahead of the game already showing
early sort of indications that these are going to be flying in this process. Some who are still a little bit confused and beguiled as to why we're even doing this, and some completely stuck in, I don't get this, I'm a little bit fearful of this. So the coaching element so the learning this week for me, or confirmation from me, is that, again, everyone is absolutely different. Everyone needs that different level of coaching support and coaching care. You can't look at a person's profile and say they're going to be great at this, because they might be the one that's just going to be struggling with that element of, I've been writing about technical data for 25 years, and suddenly you're asking me to write about myself? What? How is that even a thing? So what am I going to write about myself? I'm going to write technical data about myself? Well, no. We actually need you to really dig deep here, and don't just rely on the fact that you're going to tell us a story about how great an engineer you are. You're actually going to tell us about what you think about the world. You're going to tell us about what it was like growing up. You're going to tell us what it was like where you traveled in the world, and what you learned, that amazing thing your grandfather or your uncle told you or your aunt told you that changed your life. We're going to get you to uncover and unfold all of that.
And why are you writing in that format? Why don't we just cut and paste something off the website?
Well, it's just going back to what either Thomas, Mike, or Adam said earlier, or Linwood said earlier on. It's the world has moved on, and that whole piece that we anchored this around the fact that people are becoming bigger than the brands, that people are winning the battle over the brands. If we want people to win the battle over the brands, we need people to behave like they are our digital friends, or we're going to be repelled. We're going to walk away.
So just like a networking event, where you would go into the networking event and get a cup of tea, or might get a cup of coffee, and you would walk up to somebody and say, "Have you travelled far?" You're just doing that. You're building a relationship, and you're going up and talking to them, doing it on the social platform.
Totally. You're talking about, I remember the best conversations I ever had at networking events is when we started off talking about the horrendous weather, or, just come back from holidays, and the first, we might have stood for half an hour, and 20 minutes of that was social chat, social bonding, social getting together, and then we got to what we do and all of that. So yeah, it's permeating that through all of our digital real estate that we have. And it's been amazing this week to see people in the main really excited about it, making early stage blunders that we're able to coach back and check and refer to, and just move forward with people at all different levels. It's been a tiring week, but a great week.
Good. So thank you everybody for sharing what you've been doing. Are there any funny stories or anything that you've seen out there that's funny? Any posts that you've seen that's funny? Anything else that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I've got a funny one as well. Yeah. Go on, Mike.
No, I want to hear Adam's.
Well, I said that yesterday I did this seminar for the APS, and I was fortunate enough to get the feedback form from that.
Yeah.
And as you would expect, I got some nice comments. Great content and very informative. A wake-up call to show how far behind I am on social media and what I need to, that kind of thing. Also, you get the flip side of that. I didn't really enjoy this one, unfortunately. Very much one person's opinion, and I've heard other people speak in different terms about LinkedIn. So we will agree to disagree. And again, fine. I'm perfectly happy with people that disagree with my very interesting comment that I got back was, and this was the only feedback, the speaker was very quiet. So that was an hour of their time they're never getting back.
I've never gotten that feedback, Adam.
Neither have I, oddly, Mike. Neither have I.
So, Mike.
So the funniest thing that happened was when I was talking to a coaching client about the importance of building a network, and I got this massive pushback that sending out invitations on LinkedIn was basically cold calling. And I said, well, that's interesting. Aren't you a member of a Rotary group, and don't you attend the Chamber of Commerce? And he's like, yeah. I said, so you're a hypocrite. Like, what? I said, all we're talking about doing when we look at social selling, not social marketing, but social selling, all we're talking about doing is systematically building a network. And he's like, oh, it was a BFO, blinding flash the obvious. We're not talking about anything nasty or cold. We're talking about doing what works all the time.
Well, I've got a funny and interesting one.
Yeah.
So one of the clients that we're training, and we've done a little bit of this in the past, is in the real estate industry. And we started with them a few weeks ago. And one of the stars on the team that we're training has been really pushing back because as we all hear on a regular basis, he's all over social, and he's mastered it. And sure enough, he's got a lot of content. But as is very common with the real estate industry, his content is a picture of whatever home he's actually promoting, or commercial property, because he does a little bit of both. And he does a lot of it. And he gets almost zero engagement, but that's not the point. Point is he's all over social, and he's doing great with it. So I said, listen, let's just mix it up. Let's just do a little A/B testing, shall we? So why don't we find an article that you can make some comments on that isn't a picture of a house, but maybe talks about the city or the area that you're involved in, and just see what happens. And on that basis, you can potentially show up tomorrow and we can have another session. I'm very comfortable with putting that gauntlet on the table. And he said, fine. What are you suggesting? So as it happened, there had been an article that came out, and I live in Fargo, North Dakota, USA, and the article said that Fargo was one of the top cities for growth and for people moving to in the U.S. currently, and which is pretty amazing given the size and scope of the U.S. And I said, why don't you say something about that, but add some comments to this article relative to your knowledge of the great city that we live in and the people and that stuff. He said, okay, I mean, I could do that. I don't see the point. And I said, well, just humor me. Let's do this. I'm gonna help you do this. We're gonna do this together.
We're gonna do this.
We're gonna do this. So I even came up with the comments because there was nothing really forthcoming. So we did that, and we put it out on his profile. Now he does have a reasonably good networks, not where it needs to be because he's been boring the crap out of people, but he does have pretty good, not bad. In any case, the response he got over a 2-day period was about 4,000 people liked, shared, and commented on his article. And honest to God, this was his comment to me. Now you've got to hear this out because I was just waiting to hear what his response was going to be. He says, well, how the hell am I going to follow all that up? That was his right? And
oh no!
All I could do was laugh and chuckle and say, listen, there are worse problems. That is probably one of the best problems you're going to have for a long, long time. You've got nothing but new customers all over that. And if you don't follow them up, I'm going to get one of the other people on the team to do it for you.
Do you know, Thomas, I've never seen a guru on LinkedIn that basically says that they can help you if you've got too many leads. It's a new thing. It's got to catch on, surely.
Funny thing.
Do you know, Tim's just written 6 blogs about that while we've been sitting here.
Thomas, there's a blog in that.
I wrote one about 3 years ago, Mike, about it actually, because Thomas has actually had a number of clients who've actually complained that they've got too many leads. It's really funny. Well, actually, it's really serious, but
yeah.
It tells you there's a psychological issue as well as the social sales training issue. But we deal with both.
So I saw something online, which was a guy writing in a LinkedIn LinkedIn group on Facebook.
I know this one.
And he said, doesn't LinkedIn give warning if rule is violated before permanently restricting the account? I got my new account and permanently banned. Why and how? So there then goes, there's a whole long discussion. It's like, duh, look, if you're using tools illegally, you get banned, and LinkedIn do this. So there's this long discussion. He went and bought a LinkedIn account. I didn't know that you could do this, but now I do. That you can buy a LinkedIn account with connections, and you just go in and fill it in. So he bought that, and instantly put it up, and it got banned. And he was obviously a little bit annoyed about that because he'd actually bought this account. So he was feeling that he was Robin Hood and LinkedIn were the big bad guys.
Sure.
And then it was pointed out to him that what LinkedIn do is if you start spamming people is that they have because the main key on your LinkedIn account is your email. When you log in, that's the thing, that's your unique ID. But they also collect your IP address. So if you're spamming from a computer and they catch you, it's not just your account that goes, but you won't be able to use that account, that computer, to get back into LinkedIn because they've got your IP address. So anyway, I thought that was really funny. So.
Yeah.
Do you think? Well, I know the answer to this question. It's a rhetorical question. Do you think people actually spend, given how important being on LinkedIn and being present and active on LinkedIn has become? We've seen that with the massive uptake in the amount of regular users and members now. Do you think people have actually gone in and really examined Section 8 of the user agreement?
I doubt it. It's like all user agreements. You just click. It's like when you Apple, you just click it, or Microsoft or whatever. You don't actually.
They won't do anything. They won't do anything.
It's not true. It's not real. So what does Clause 8 on the LinkedIn conditions say?
I kind of used to have it down verbatim, but I haven't looked for a little while. So you agree that you will not, LinkedIn's words, Section 8. You agree by signing this and clicking this with your digital fingerprint that you will not. 8.2.1. Create a false identity on LinkedIn, misrepresent your identity, create a member profile for anyone other than yourself, brackets a real person, or this is the clincher, attempt to use another person's account. Now that's pretty clear, right? So 8.2.2, develop, support, or use software, devices, scripts, or robots, or any other means to process, including crawlers, browsers, plugins, and other add-ons, or any other technology, pretty wide there, pretty wide, to scrape the service that otherwise copy profiles and other data from the services, from the LinkedIn services across the board. So 8.1, and then it goes on to override security features, copy, blah, blah, blah. There's loads. In fact, in 8.2, in the don'ts section, which is all don'ts, there are 18 subsections.
Wow.
18. Number 1 and 2 are fairly heavy duty, and we know will result in temporary and permanent bans, not only for the person who's allowing someone to go on and use their account or something like that, but that person too. So yeah, I just worry because I see a lot of people. There's lots of people I know that have. You'll be chatting to them on direct messages on LinkedIn, and then someone else answers and says, "Hi, I'm their, sort of like virtual PA or their assistant or whatever," and you're thinking, do they know? So I always share the information as a matter of course. But I think a lot of people think it's a bit, yeah, whatever. They'll never find me.
I'm afraid I need to dash, everyone. I've got a call at the top of the hour. Thank you for a great way to go out the week.
Thank you, Adam. Have a great weekend.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. We are at the hour. I really appreciate all your comments, or your sharing all your insights or your thoughts to the panel. Adam, Mike, Thomas, Lenwood, Eric. Thank you so much for coming and sharing that, and and hopefully people learned something. We had a laugh. We enjoyed it. We love sharing this stuff. We're hoping we're going to do this next week.
Yeah.
If you're out there, tune in. Think of some questions. Throw some rocks at us. Let's get a good debate. So thank you everybody, and we'll see you next week.
See you. Thank